This is the Toplofty Lounge here for a smooth show for you today. Oh yeah, baby. In the 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, baby. Yeah, here we go. In 11, 10, 9. Oh yeah, baby. Here we come. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Top Lofty Lounge, episode 53. Happy belated birthday. Conversations for the Elevated. Welcome to all my fellow snobs. This week on the show, we're going to be revisiting our best and the worst from sci fi movies, and we're going to be talking about world building, best and the worst world building films. But before we do that, um, let me introduce my co host, the man who loves to take his anger out on me. It's Cam. Say hello, Cam.
Good evening, everyone.
So, Cam, I hear you're in a bad mood.
Yeah, yes, I am.
Do you want to talk about it, or need a hug?
Sure. I do. I probably could use a hug. As some of you know, I enjoy. Well, I do a little bit of home improvement work, um, and so I've been. There's a project I've been wanting to do for some time to beautify my the front door of my house. And so I set out to do it, and I've been making progress little by little. And one of the steps today was repainting, and I had stained the front door, and I needed to put a sealer on it, basically a polyurethane sealer. So I'm using an outdoor product for that, and so I get a satin finish, right? Which is supposed to be, generally you go flat satin, semi-gloss gloss, right? Well, both of these products are are shining brightly as if they're covered in some sort of sci-fi creature slime. They're not even semi-gloss. They're gloss finish. So I have no idea how this has occurred. I've used satin finish paint dozens of times before, and it's never looked like this. So I just did it today. Maybe it'll kind of calm down a little bit. I don't know, but it's really pissing me off that I'm going to have to redo this whole damn segment of the project at least. Not to mention that this paint was quite expensive. It was about $65 a gallon, and so that's pretty up there. So yeah, I'm pissed off about that.
So, Cam's gonna have the shiniest door in the neighborhood. Everyone we go by goes,
I guess.
"That's
So
a
now
house with
now
a shiny door."
you can dox me by looking for shiny doors in neighborhoods in America.
Shinydoor.com.
Hmm.
He's the only. I mean, you're probably the only one. I mean, it's like that guy near my house who, well, it's not too close, but the guy with the pink house. And you
Hmm.
go, is that the pink house? And they always like, no, it's salmon. It's salmon. Oh yeah, okay, light pink. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's say hello to everyone in the chat. Who's in the chat tonight? Weatherman, of course, our most loyal viewer, always here. Welcome, Weatherman. Dave is here, of course, Dave. And greetings to you too, Dave. Yeah, greetings. Yeah. And Michael has shown up. He woke up just for the show, of course. I mean, it's a great show. You should wake up for it. Just got to make sure the people who are on the show are awake. That's the important thing. And it says we have 6 viewers right now. I'm sure more will come in a little bit, but let's say hi to all the 3 who want to make themselves known, and the Ninja Watchers lurk in the chat. Hello to you too. That's fine. No problem. Yeah, well, my week was a little, I mean, it was fine. I got most of the grass cut. Not quite all, but most of it. I had to rake it up, because it was like I was talking about how it was so high. So I had to, I normally just mulch it and just leave it over. But, when it's that high, you got to rake it up because it's not going anywhere. So I got the children to do that, put it into the cart and take it over and pile it into the grass pile for, future rotting and that kind of stuff. So we did that. So that's good. Um, oh, something directed towards it. Michael says, Cam, you're just looking for an excuse to go postal. Admit it, your dark passenger is restless.
Oh, that's getting really philosophical, or maybe sci-fi.
Would you agree with that? No.
Well, I hope I don't have any dark passengers. That would be terrible. Clearly, a lot of people in today's world do. So
yeah. Let's not wake the beast.
Yeah, that's.
All right. Do we have anything else? Anything else about your week, Cam? You want
to? Let's see. I actually took Friday off.
Ooh.
So it was one of those things where it's like Friday felt like Saturday, and Saturday felt like Sunday, and today felt like Monday. Except I didn't go to work again, so I'm all messed up. Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I did finish some things, so yeah. I will probably be taking a good amount of time off coming up here in the next few weeks. I have some vacation time to take, so.
Right on. Yeah. It's always good. Take it in the summer when it's nice.
Oh, and of course, if people missed it, we had 2 shows this week during the day, standing in for Jason or for Live from the Bunker. We did Dead from the Dugout on Tuesday and Thursday of last week.
And we're going to do it this Tuesday and Thursday again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, watch for that if you're bored at
1 p.m. Eastern.
1 p.m. Eastern, 12 Central, 11 Mountain.
Mm-hmm. And Pacific doesn't matter. So
yeah. All those left coast weirdos.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. We're going to get into the show, but I think we have a special segment to do. A very popular segment. Is that correct, Cam?
Yes.
You want to do? Okay. I'm sure this is Cam's segment, so everyone knows what that means. That means it's tool time. All right.
Yeah. So,
hold on. Wait a second. I got to do the.
I
got to do the opening.
Okay, good.
It's
sure.
new. Okay, and note everybody, I've got a special. This is a secret. I finally got a picture of Cam. There's the first picture we've ever have of Cam.
Doxed.
Secret. Doxed
between this and the door, I'm screwed.
That's right. We don't know who he is. All right. Tool time. It's tool time. It's Cam's toolbox. Yeah. All right.
Lovely.
All right. There we go. Yeah. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Shall we put up the let's pull up the proper. Okay, there we go. Take it away.
All right. Well, I've mentioned over the last year that a few times where I've gotten a new flashlight, so I've highlighted that. Well, yesterday I got another flashlight that I totally don't need but wanted. So sometimes when I otherwise feel down, I will go shopping, much like a woman of the 1970s and 80s stereotype, at least. So I have been enjoying these Nightcore flashlights, which are, if you are, for American made, they are made in China. So, they're. I know. But they are high quality, made in China. These are excellent designs and high quality, modern technology and such. So this one, the MH12 Pro, there's a flashlight store, an actual flashlight store, a local place where I can get to and actually, get hands-on with different models and things and look at and play around with, which is, rare in today's world that you could actually do that.
That's true.
So it's dangerous to go there because, they've always got something new and interesting. And this was the one that I kind of settled on. So what I had bought in recent, over the past year, I was trying to upgrade my flashlights, for my various kits and things. So I kind of focused on what you'd call EDC models, or things you'd use for daily purposes. This one, and some of those, they're very bright and everything, but there's a lot of technology in flashes. I'm not an expert. One of the things though is the throw. Essentially how far that it goes. Yes, yes, Dave. Absolutely, it is my candy store.
And this is the 505 meters, ultra long throw. That's what they're talking
Exactly.
about.
You're right. So this model is excels at that. You know, it's very bright. It's what is it, 3,300 lumens, I think, and
Yeah.
it but the throw is excellent, and I just played around with it a little bit, and it really reaches out, which is nice for, you know. So let's say you were doing a search and rescue kind of thing, where you're trying to look at far away to light up some areas far away and look at them. This would be the kind of light you'd want for it. So they did have a few models. They had one with a bigger head that had even more throw, but the clever clerk at the place discussed the differences with me. Actually, he kind of got himself out of I think it's the MH25 is the other one that's got a bigger head and has even longer throw. But he's like, how far can can your eyes actually see? I'm like, you are correct, sir, that I can't see more than 4 football fields reliably, or at least not details. So it wouldn't help for me to be able to, spotlight something 6 football fields away. As you see there, the price well, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the. There you go. Yeah, 89.
Not
About
cheap.
9. Yeah, it's not cheap. About $90. It has a removable, replaceable battery on the inside, which is you charge it in the flashlight. You could buy chargers specifically for it, like desktop chargers or whatever, but you can charge it through the light with a USB-C port, which is also a bonus. I don't like to have all kinds of different hardware configurations for things. So USB-C is kind of becoming the standard, or it has become the standard for most of those things. I am very wary about carrying rechargeable lights necessarily, because it's one of those things. Let's say you are out camping or whatever you're doing, outdoor activities, it goes out, you can't easily replace it. So typically I always have even if it's rechargeable, they have the dual fuel ones or whatever, where you could use a AA battery in it also, and I like that for my regular pocket carry. But since
this has this,
no, this one does not.
Oh.
But that's why this is a different use. This is a specific thing, not an everyday kind of thing, where I would be more likely to need to change the battery. This is like like I said, if I was doing searching for something out in the woods or whatever at night. Anyway, so yeah, treated myself to that, and I feel no regret when it comes down to it. So, which is bad because you spend more money. As I was ranting before about the this project for my front door is costing quite a bit of money as well. I had to buy some wood and the all the finishes and the paint and everything. So it's really adding up for the money I've spent. Plus, bonus tool talk for a second. I don't know if you guys remember the tool bags that we talked about, the Vito Pro Pack. They just ended their yearly sale. The 3-month sale that where you get buy one get one free. So I again splurged on that because I wanted to get the other free thing that I hadn't gotten earlier in the sale, but. Anyway, sorry, I'm just kind of rambling about all this stuff. Yes, Michael, I would I think I'd like a sonic screwdriver more than a lightsaber, because it's the ultimate multi-tool, as we discussed on our episode about sci-fi tools.
Yeah, this the flashlight looks like about the size of a roll of quarters, right? So,
yeah, it is. It's about diameter wise. It is. It's a little bit longer. It's I'd say about. I'm just judging here by the back of my hand. Wait a minute.
So if you had to punch somebody, you could just put it in your hand and just.
Yeah, it fits. It fits pretty.
Kind of like brass knuckles, sort of.
Yeah, you certainly could back yourself up with that. Yeah, that's right. It is just about 5 inches long, so it sticks out. If you needed it for emergency defense, again, unless you have a giant hand, it'll probably protrude a little bit out of your fist on either end, so you could use it as a striking
bludgeon.
That's right. It does have. The bezel does have a tiny bit of, not a crenellation, but a DNA collector on the end.
Yeah, that's the only it's not good. DNA collection. Yeah.
It's not sharp, but it's got a little bit of something there. So you could certainly use it as a makeshift striking weapon if you needed to.
You just have to get rid of it afterwards.
Well, no, I only do things lawfully, self-defense.
Yeah, you're never going to get all that DNA out of that. Probably, right? They got all these techniques. Anyway,
I don't know what you're talking about there, friend, but maybe we should move
yeah,
on.
nothing. Never mind.
Okay.
Does it get hot the longer it's on?
Oh yeah, this one heats up real fast.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. Now the good news is it has easy selection between different modes. So that it actually has two major modes. You have the normal use and the tactical use. And basically with the tactical use, its default is the brightest setting, and then you could step it down from there. And I don't know if you can see it. It has this one has just some nice little indicator lights that give you the battery level and the output level. So you can
I can make it a little bit bigger there.
yeah, and you could see from the unlike other ones that have it's like a you have to take a course to figure out how to run all these different lights. This one has an on off button on the back as it's illustrating there. And to switch modes, it's on the front. So there's a completely separate button for doing that, which is kind of nice because it's some people they have like half presses or double clicks, triple clicks, all these different things. This one's two different buttons, and so you can easily cycle through the power levels with the front button. And then if you hold it down, then it switches to strobe mode, which is a kind of a I guess they'd call it a self-defense thing. It is disorienting. It is extremely bright and makes it hard to see. But it's not the same as obviously a physical hard self-defense, let's say. But I do like having that mode available. And then the non-tactical mode, it does have all those modes, but it also has things like SOS and beacon, doing these different things. And then that one starts at the low mode. And then the other thing I really like having on the models, and this one's chock full of them, is the typically they call it like a moonlight mode, which is like very low lumens, but it's supposed to run for extremely long time. Like this one says 650 hours at on moonlight mode or something. So if you are stuck in a bad situation and you need to see something, but you don't want to burn up your battery, you can do that with this one as well. So so far so good.
All right, here it is. I think ultra low, low, mid, high, turbo, strobe, beacon, SOS, daily modes, and then technical modes. So I guess your ultra low is your one that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, the moonlight, typically called moonlight. Yeah.
Oh, here's you're talking about level indicator and power indicators. There you go. That's a better look at it.
Yeah, and a nice interface. I really like that interface. It's just a blue light and a green, little dots to indicate, blue for level and green for battery. You can get it at a glance. Some other ones have like these readouts and everything like a screen. I don't really, I'm not a huge fan of that. I prefer the little bit simpler indicator. All right. Yep. Well, boy, maybe we should move on to the tool thing, the next tool, because I'm really burning a lot of time here tonight.
All right.
I'm burning a lot of time. I apologize, everyone.
Okay.
All right. We've got this is the thing you've been asking. Hey, you got any tools? Got any tools? This is the thing I've been waiting for. This is again, the Klein. I think I've talked about the Klein flip sockets before. The different things. Well, they come out with the quad socket now. Instead of having one on each end, now there's two sizes on each end. And basically you've got, the housing has an internal piece that's spring loaded. So basically if you fit it onto the smaller size, it works. If you try to fit it on a larger size, it'll push down the insert. And then, yes, the 16-inch 5D cell Maglite Weatherman. That's right. That was a classic. I still have one. But I really made me laugh.
4-cell C one, which is
C cell is Satan's battery. I never use it. Anyway, so the quad here, which is, I don't know if this is getting into novelty zone here, where you're not really saving a lot of weight or size. You are saving pieces, obviously. Instead of having two flip sockets with two different sizes, you have, one with four.
So if you lose one, you lose 4 sockets.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. But, some people have pointed out, it's like, well, where would this be really convenient? Well, if you happen to you were working with a 1/4 inch and a 3/8 head, both, or
Yeah.
whichever pair. Now, what are the odds of that? Probably not too great. But again, the Klein has these very sci-fi like Lego-ish tools, with their Connect system, and the quad socket here is the latest. So I did, again, maybe stupidly splurge and get the set here with the SAE and metric sockets. I've been waiting a few weeks to get a hold of them, and they finally came in stock in my local store. So I'll see how it goes.
Store sockets on shaft. Oh, can we all store together?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The first, now these are so large you could probably only fit two on even the long shaft, but like their original socket, a flip socket was, and there's a lot of companies that do this now, but it's basically you have the shaft with three double-ended sockets on it, so you get six sizes, and the people that they could just stick it in their impact wrench or whatever, or impact driver, and then flip to different things and not have to be searching for where they might be or digging into a pack or anything like that. They're all right there. So yeah, kind of innovative, kind of neat.
All right. Well, we're not going to do the videos, but people can go and do the video. If they're even impact rated, I guess. So I noticed.
Yes.
That's
a big thing. A lot of the contract. I'm not a contractor or whatever. But these guys love their small impact drivers, and they like to use them for everything. So
got to be impact rated.
Yep.
All right.
Anybody,
anyone in the chat got any questions on any of the tools? Now's the time to do it. All right.
I'll come back with a field report if I get them find a particular use for them.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. Shall we get into the reason for this show tonight?
Yeah. Sci-fi. We'll actually talk about sci-fi.
Yeah. Did we miss anything? Let's. I don't think I missed anything. All right. Oh, look at this. Thanks for the great segment. Now everyone's going to leave now. Best segment. They're all going to leave. All right. I think you go on the internet, Michael. Just make sure you use a VPN, because the FBI and various U.S. governments, if you type in how do I clean off DNA using ammonia, that sort of thing, that'll flag you. Yeah. So use a VPN. All right. Okay, let's get into the show. So we were going to talk about this is oops. All right, I need to get this set up. We're going to talk about this is part 2 of our show from a couple weeks ago, where we talked about good sci-fi movies, bad ones. Mostly we talked about, to be honest, the best opening scenes in science fiction movies. So we said we'd come back and we talk about the best world building in various movies. And I thought we would go with, whoops, that's not what I want to happen. There we go. We talk about various world building in science fiction movies. And I just pulled up a bunch of, 14 or so. And we're just going to go through them and talk about them. And, the chat can throw in your thoughts on these movies, on the world building. And if you have some better ones. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get started. So the first one, anybody recognize? Oh, James, welcome. Made it in. You missed tool time, though. You can get back and see it later. Anyone recognize? Cam, you recognize this movie? I'm going to do a little.
Yes.
What movie is this?
Idiocracy.
All right. So the world building in Idiocracy. What are your thoughts, Cam? Do you think?
Well,
here, I'm gonna get drinking here, even though I got to get up real early tomorrow. But
okay,
anyway, go ahead.
I was going to say, in terms of predictive accuracy, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, the only problem with this movie is that they said it's going to happen 500 years from now, and it's probably only like 20 years away. But
yeah, well, yeah, right.
Exactly. Weatherman, you've never seen this movie? Oh man, this is a great.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Classic movie. Mike Judd, great, awesome movie. Anyway, welcome to Costco. I love you. Welcome to Costco, Weatherman. I love you. Sorry, go on.
No, that's yeah, it's got solid world building. We're already experiencing it. Essentially the 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 driving plot behind the subplot, I guess, that's kind of driving it is that people are so stupid in the future. Everything is ridiculously commercialized, where people name their children after products and things, which has already happened, I think, in the real world. Um, the president's what's his name? Hector Camacho, Mountain Dew, whatever.
Yeah,
Mountain Dew Camacho,
Alonso,
Alonzo. Yeah.
Hector Camacho. Sorry, yeah.
So, but it's kind of got that classic sci-fi great machine element in there, in which they have things, clearly they're producing products and such, but they're all so stupid that they really don't understand anything about it, and they're starving to death, or they're in danger, let's say, because they they're watering plants with Brondo, which is their
The thirst
electrolyte
simulator.
feature. Their energy drink that everyone drinks.
It's
And
basically Gatorade.
right, and they use it for everything, include except for in the toilets, um, because the character, what was his name? I forget. Uh, Luke Wilson's character.
His name.
Yeah.
Oh, the name of the I can't remember. Joe Bowers.
Yeah, right.
Joe,
So, so he suggests, he's like, I'm not a botanist, but I think I do know that you put water on plants and they grow, and they famously respond, "You mean like out of the toilet?"
the
So
toilet.
yeah, so they basically been poisoning, all their crops with, all kinds of salts and such. They're in the electrolyte heavy Brondo, and so again, they lost that knowledge, and Joe here is taken from the past into the future in an experiment, and his defining feature that he was the most average man that they could find, literally right down the middle, average in every way, 100 IQ, average height, average weight, everything. But in the future, he's the smartest man alive, because everyone else is a moron. And
Yeah. So the I mean, the premise of the film is that Joe's in the army. He's like you said, the average guy. They're hiding him away in a in like some army library, and they're gonna they're gonna test out freezing people, right?
right, yeah,
Suspended.
it's not time travel. It's there. Yeah, they just freeze them.
So suspended animation. So they're like, hey, you're going to go into this thing for a year. You're going to come out as a year. You and this other Maya Rudolph is the other. She's a local prostitute. She's going to go. You're going to go into the suspended animation. But of course, the major who runs the project is he picked Maya Rudolph because he had some fling with her, and he's doing drugs and hanging out with her boyfriend who's a drug dealer. Yada yada. So of course Joe gets stuck in this and him and Maya Rudolph get stuck in this thing for 500 years. So they go through the story about how basically smart people have less children because they know, hey, I got to pay for these children and I want them to grow up properly and get a good education, etc. And all the dumb poor people are like whatever, and they're just having sex everywhere and they're having tons of children, and they explain that in the thing. So basically the average intelligence of humanity is going to get less and less and less. So 500 years in the future, everybody's stupid. Yeah. So yeah, you got to watch it. Yeah.
Now,
So the reason the world building is we're putting this. I mean, it's a great movie, but the reason we're talking about it for the world building is because they've got Mike Judge spent a lot of time, thinking about how the future, this future would pan out. Why don't we talk a little bit about that, Cam? You want to some of the examples?
You mean how it manifests in the future?
Yeah, how it manifests. So the world, it's a world building.
Well, I mean, Okay, so the premise is that basically they're down. I mean, it's kind of a eugenics idea, right? In reverse, in that as you said, all the people that tend to be less motivated, let's not say stupid, but less motivated, less educated, are producing more and more children, and so that's what they're passing along in terms of their genes. So they well, again, rampant commercialism, stupidity to the level of he gets out of jail by simply saying I'm not supposed to be here, and getting in a different line or whatever.
They put me in the wrong line. I'm supposed to be getting out today instead of going in.
Right, and
They're like,
it's
"Oh, you idiot! You're in the wrong line. Get
right,
over
yeah,
there!" And they kick him and stuff. And he's like,
right. Everybody's just engaged in random stooge like violence, um, with everybody. The what is the the highest grossing movie of all time, or it's run for some for like 10 years or something. What
no,
was the movie?
it's the one all the Academy Awards.
Oh, right.
It's 90 minutes of somebody's naked butt farting for 90 minutes, and people are
Ass the movie.
asked the movie. That was called.
And the most popular TV show is a guy that just gets kicked in the balls, I think.
Yeah, he falls on things and he just hurts his. It's called "Oh my, ow my balls," and he just like lands on a fence and then on his balls, and then he gets kicked in the balls. It's just a ball. Somebody kicks a soccer ball, hits him in the ball. Anything like that, right? Yeah. And
Well,
what else? When they go one episode when they go like he goes on a, I think, is it at the the Thunderdome place there that he goes up and he's introduced
yeah.
to the thing, and somebody jumps out of the crowd and runs up behind somebody, kicks him in the balls from behind. It's just they're in Congress, and Camacho, the president, is there, and he's like, "Shut up." He takes out an M16, fires it into the air to get people to be quiet in Congress.
Yeah.
It's in Congress.
Well, and the cabinet is like, I think three people. One of them's like a kid, like
they all won.
12-year-old
They
kid.
all won their cabinet positions in a contest, except for the Secretary of Education, who's Camacho's, brother-in-law through his sister or something, and he actually looks like he's mentally retarded. Like he's like, what else? Costco. Costco is there, right? Everybody's like, that's why. Welcome to Costco. I love you. That's the Costco reader, and everything's at Costco. Like it's huge. One of the guys is like, yeah, I got my law degree here at Costco. There's like they're going through. There's a train that goes through Costco because it's so big that you need to take a subway train to get various points of it. It's huge. It's just everything is it's all kinds of small things in there for the world building. The when he goes on trial, it's like we're gonna do what does he say? The judge says something like, "We're gonna do some lawyer or justice and up in here," right? I forget the actor whose name. He's really good there.
Oh yeah, he's the guy. He was in Man in the High Castle. I forget his name too. He's a voice on King of the Hill as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, sorry, I don't think so.
No, he's still around.
Well, he was also in. Was he in Dodgeball too?
Oh yeah. He's from what?
I can never remember his name.
I'm scrolling through the thing here. Thomas Hayden Church is the Brondo CEO. He's probably the smartest guy. He's the only guy who's like not an idiot. I don't see him, but there's some great some great performances.
Sorry,
President Camacho, Terry Allen Cruz. Terry Crews is President Camacho.
Stephen Root.
Stephen Root.
Yeah, he's been in everything. Speaking of Mike Judge, I guess they announced this week that King of the Hill is coming back.
I saw that, and they're changing. I guess the guy who voices the father there passed away, so they're gonna recast him or something. No, maybe I'm wrong.
I didn't hear that, but I thought. Well, whatever. So if anybody's interested in that, okay. So
Uh,
like, a few,
yeah, they
sorry, go
just
ahead.
they just. Oh, I just remember he goes to the doctor. He goes to the doctor, and or they go to the hospital, and the people at the hospital have a board, and it's got these little like it's a pic. They're so dumb. It's just like pictograms on it, right? So like there's a picture of a guy throwing up, and you press that button if that's what's wrong. All these something. It's all like you know, and of course the most used ones are at the at the top, and it's got some guy who's like he's got something stuck in his butt, right? Like just the problems that people are having. You're like, okay, yeah,
Oh, one other thing is everybody talks like an idiot, right? I mean, they sound like like
yeah,
your stereotypical joke voice for a stupid person.
yeah,
And maybe we shouldn't say it because it's Pride Month, but they
yeah.
describe Joe. Can I say it? Can we say
Sure,
it
sure.
without getting struck down? They say he talks all faggy.
Yeah, because he sounds, and Joe isn't that smart, but compared to
Yeah,
them,
but
he sounds
he speaks proper English,
highfalutin.
right?
He uses his words. Oh, when they're doing his, he's getting his IQ test, right? And he's
Hmm.
sitting there, and he's like, they're asking these questions. If you had a bucket that holds, you have one bucket that holds 2 gallons, another bucket that holds 5 gallons. How many buckets do you have? And he's like, two. And then he's like, "What the hell is going on?" And he's, this is really easy. And he's looking around, and everybody beside him is trying to get the square peg into the round hole, right? And they're like, jamming it in there, and then they're covering it up too. Like they see him looking at him, they cover it up like they want him to copy. It's just brutal, man. Anyway, great world building in that movie. All kinds of little things in there that just, everything. Yeah,
Yep, it's brilliant.
yeah.
Well, I don't know. We're probably not going to talk about it here because
Office
it's not
Space
sci-fi.
is
But
good too, of course.
yeah, Office Space. I love Office Space. That
Yeah,
movie cracked me up in ways I can't describe.
I got a copy of it.
Did you see it in the theater?
I don't think so. I thought I saw it way afterwards. I'm like,
Mm.
what the hell is this? People are like,
Because it
oh, you
came
got to
out.
see this movie, and I'm like, all right,
I think it came out in like '98 or '99 because
yeah,
part of the story was about Y2K, in banking software.
yeah,
So my God, that was a great movie.
yeah. All right. Anyway, we're sticking to world building. Yeah, some great world building, like lots of shots of the garbage. There's garbage everywhere. Or they talk about the great garbage collapse, avalanche of whenever. There's all kinds of little, they've done a great job in the world. Yeah,
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things it's a shotgun approach where it's just so many things happening in the background or just little bits and they just fly by, but it's all
and
as you say all part of the world
yeah,
building.
and the story is it's Joe trying to get back to his time. So he's like, they must have invented a time machine. He wants a time machine, but also, he gets caught because all these people, because everybody's stupid. They're all like, he gets blamed for whatever happens around him and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, it's not really about the movie. Isn't really about the storyline. It's not really, nobody. That's not really that important. It's all the little extras. Yeah. All right. Shall we go on? Let's go on to the next one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cam, can you name that movie? Come on.
Oh, I saw this movie. Oh, the name is escaping me. It's
They're working on a sequel.
Edge of Tomorrow. Is that it?
Edge of Tomorrow, and apparently they're working on a sequel. I don't
Hmm.
know what they would do for a sequel, but maybe I would do a prequel with what's her name as the because whatever in the movie happens to her beforehand. Yeah. So the world building in this one, your thoughts?
Uh, I don't know. I got it wouldn't jump out at me, first thing that I would say, oh, this was a movie that was great with world building. I mean, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was bad, but it seems kind of contained, I mean, I don't remember there being so many, about it wasn't expansive, I guess, in the world building. Let me put it that way.
It's basically a sort of set like near future with military technology that's a little bit better than ours.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't mind the
It's
sequel.
it's an alien thing, right?
Yeah,
Where
it's alien threat. execution didn't thrill me. Yeah, it wasn't. I thought it was well done with the way that they put the the time, his repeating, right? They didn't show you everything all the time.
Mhm.
It's really well done with how they decide to, what they decide to show you and how they, you don't have to beat that together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Dave, just real quick. Dave mentions Live Die Repeat. It was a manga first, I believe.
yeah. Really a bad. You know what? This is a good example to me of a bad title, because Edge of Tomorrow. What does that tell you about?
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
guess he's kind of at the edge of tomorrow because he's repeating all the time, maybe. But Live
as
Die
evidenced,
Repeat,
I didn't remember it, right off the
yeah,
top of my head.
Live Die Repeat, way better. They could have thought of a way better title. But anyway, we'll have to. We say that this one can go into the worst sci-fi movie titles. But yeah, I mean, there is some. This one's a little weak, I think, in that development. I mean, they've got a fairly good. Yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense. The aliens. It's very much near future. They seem to develop. The world might be set up with with a coalition, a European coalition, including Americans, fighting this war, how the military technology fits together, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I guess it seemed to fit together fairly well. Thinking of the other sci-fi Tom Cruise movie, which was the one where he's cloned. Spoiler alert. Yeah, what's that one called?
Oh. I
I
saw
can't
that one.
remember.
I saw that one too, but I don't remember the
I
name.
can't remember offhand there. Oblivion. Not a great. Yeah, there he goes. Everybody's got it. Not a great name for the movie either. But anyway, all right. Anything else you want to say about this one? This one's not very strong.
No, I enjoyed the movie. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, world building, I'd say C- kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. This one?
Oh,
A little bit harder to get, but lots of big stars. I picked the more difficult.
God, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't. Go ahead, just say it.
Inception.
Yeah, I didn't see this.
Really, you didn't see Inception? All right.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, everybody else has got it. Minority Report. That's the other Tom Cruise one. Inception. Yeah. So, world building. They do a pretty good job of figuring out. I mean, the world is kind of very similar to our world, so there's really not that much there. But they do a good job of fixing in the, putting in how the Inception works, that sort of thing. So I think that's it's a little bit better than average for the world building, but again, kind of similar to what we're doing. What we're doing now. So that's not that too much world building, but they've worked in it. They do a good job of building the. I mean, these guys are incepting people like it's a corporate espionage, right? They're doing it to make the whole storyline is there. They want this guy to, come think of something himself, come up with, doing it what it is they want him to do. So, yeah, not okay, but not, not too bad. All right, this I think is one of the better ones that people do not talk about. I think this one's pretty well done. Do you know this one, Cam?
Oh, is this?
I mentioned it last show. It's one of the few ones that are not set in America.
Nope, not coming to me.
Dave's got it.
Yeah,
District 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's his name? Blomkamp. I always get his name wrong. Set in South Africa, an alien spaceship turns up right over South Africa, just sitting there. And everybody wonders what the hell's going on. Nothing happens. So eventually they go up there and they find a bunch of these, well, they call them prawns, a bunch of these aliens, but they all seem kind of stupid. We don't know what happened, if they were, sort of mind wiped. Blonde Camp, yeah, they were mind wiped, or if they were, all the leaders died and they're left with the sort of the stupidest members of their society. Nobody quite knows what the heck's going on. So they bring them down and they put them in District 9, which is basically a refugee camp for all these prawns. And the whole world, they're trying to fit in. Just what the way that they've set it up. The main character is, he's part of a bureaucracy, run by the UN, that they go into District 9 and they kind of, interview the prawns, and they try to set them up, and they're trying to be sort of nice to them, but yet they're pretty racist towards them, because they're an alien species. They're quite different, right? They're eating. They love cat food. They're eating cat food all the time. They live in these shanty huts you can see behind them. They're doing weird stuff. They want to make sure
it's kind of a spoof, right? I mean,
not really. Not really. I don't think it's a spoof.
Isn't it?
No, I think it's a serious movie. Is it a spoof?
Maybe I'm thinking of a different movie.
No, I don't think it's a spoof. It's pretty serious. The story, goes the main the hero here. He gets thrown up on or something, and then he starts becoming a prawn. And going through all these changes and stuff. And they have it set up for a second movie, because in the first movie, one prawn finally escapes and gets back to the ship and then takes off. He seems to be the only guy who knows how to use it. The rest of them, they wander around. They just, eat whatever they see, etc. Great set of world building. They've built out the whole. What would it be like if a bunch of aliens showed up? I think there's about 1 million of them. A bunch of them showed up, and you're trying to be nice to them, so you put them in these camps. But they're aliens. You can't really talk to them, barely. You don't want them. They're kind of insect like, so they breed. They can breed pretty fast, and the UN guys are going in there like, all right, well, there's, it's a nest. They're trying to breed. Then they burn it and stuff, because we can't, they would quickly take over the world, because they hatch like 50 babies and stuff like that. It's like really bad. Michael, talking about the Rick and Morty episode, they make scary Terry inside of the math teacher's brain. Yes, they make up Inception. Yes. Have you seen Rick and Morty, Cam?
No, never seen a bit of it.
Okay. If you've seen that episode, you get the idea what Inception's about. So there's some. You've seen District 9, right?
Yeah, but again, I'm struggling to remember that much about it.
Yeah, it's done very seriously. He's running around. They're chasing,
you know what? Maybe I'm
them.
thinking about a completely different movie.
Maybe. It's well done. It's not really. There's elements of it that you could say that, but it's not a parody. It's not a. It's like, hey, what would happen if an alien spaceship just arrived?
Isn't the main character that we follow kind of like a oh shucks kind of trying to do the right thing guy and all that?
Yeah, but he's kind of an idiot, and he gets the job because he's marrying some high bureaucrat's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But he's trying to do the right thing. He's not super smart, but
he's a functionary. He's just a drone himself, right?
Kind of, yeah. District 9 is not a perilous to alienation. The slave race survives; the masters do not. Yeah, so we don't know why these prawns could be the slaves on this ship, and then the ship gets to Earth, but there's nobody who knows how to use the technologies around, and they all seem dumb, and they could be a slave race to whoever ran the ship, but they don't make it for whatever reason to Earth. They die on the ship, but no one can get to the ship either. Like nobody can. Like we can't get into their ship, so I don't think it's explained how these the prawns come down. But there's all kinds of they shoot them and they treat them like cattle almost and stuff. So it's pretty good world building. They've thought of most of the UN involvement, the bureaucrats when the main character first grows a prawned hand, right? And they've got all these fancy weapons, right? All these plasma weapons that explode you from the inside out and stuff, but no humans can use them. Only the prawns have the something with the DNA, and the government has been trying for years. I think it's 10 years. Like this has been going on for 10 years or something. I can't remember for sure. Government's trying for years, and so when this guy, he starts turning into a prawn, they capture him, and they're using him to fire off the weapons. They're like, hey, if we use his arm is fully a prawn arm. If we use it, it works. And they're like, oh, so they're going to take him. It's funny because the head, it's going to be the head guy is, of course, his father is to his father-in-law to be, but his father-in-law is more than happy to like, oh, yeah, we'll just say he died. And then we'll keep him locked up and experiment on him to use. He doesn't like his son-in-law to be, right? So great movie. Yeah, talk about a second one. But some very I think what's the Matt Damon movie where they have robots in it, and it's actually guys in in green suits or whatever with the dots on them. This movie uses the same technique for the prawns. So all the prawns are just people in those suits moving and stuff, and then they overlay on top of them. It looks really good. I think it's one of the first movies they use that technique. Elysium is the other one. Yeah, that's right, where they do the same sort of thing for the robots, and the robots move very smoothly. Like, wow, that's they move just like humans and stuff. Like some of the the stuff you see nowadays with the I guess it's the robotics company that tries to focus on human-like movement. I can't remember what the name of it, something robotics, but so it was really well done.
Something's very strange here. Just sorry, side note. Michael, can you post something else in the chat real quick? Because I'm not seeing his comment that you have highlighted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I see his other comments.
You got him blocked? What?
No,
you didn't see this one? You see that one? No. The Inception one. All right.
Yeah, I see the Inception one. That's
okay. Good. Did you see that? Michael just posted. Did you?
Yeah, he said, Yeah, okay.
All right. Oh. You saw that one. All right.
Weird.
That's weird.
Thanks, YouTube. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. Next we have. Yeah. All right. Do you know this movie? Do a little test here. See if someone in the chat gets it first.
I remember. I did not see
like
this
a delay.
I didn't see this one. I don't remember the name of it either. Someone like they're a team or whatever. I don't remember. I don't know anything about it really.
Nobody. All right. Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. Weatherman's got it. Yeah, Valerian. Based on a French comic book. Graphic novel. Interesting world building. Not a great movie. Especially, I think I talked about this last time. These two characters are supposed to be in love, or he's hot, got the hots for her, and she's kind of lukewarm. Not good chemistry between the two of them. Anyway, they're secret agents for an Earth government and etc. Now, I won't bother going into it. Worst casting ever. Yeah, I would agree. Not very good casting. Teens and Wonder Bra. Ouch. Terrible movie. I didn't say it was terrible, but it was not great. That's for sure. But some building that is done, right? The City of 1,000 Planets, it's basically an asteroid that humans have made, and we're sending it off. And there's all these races that come to it, and it's supposed to be like, it's kind of like Babylon 5 in that all these races get together, and some of them are very unusual. Like, they're not all humanoid races. Some of them are, have a hive mind, all kinds of stuff. They work, it's a place for people to swap knowledge and learn about everyone else, and everyone's got their little niche on the city. That's why it's called a city of 1,000 planets, because it's supposedly 1,000 different races and planets together. Yeah. So there's lots of in the movie. There's lots of shots of different alien races. They've done a fair amount of working on that, but so great world building there. How how they get up, how the city gets sort of set up, but and the races that are inhabited. But story is somewhat, it's a secret agent story where they're trying to get this little alien creature that has poops out these pearls, which are great for energy. But yeah, James is like, James, I like the cast. Everybody hates the. You found them charming. I thought she's just horrible. She just. I didn't get to. I mean, he's sort of macking on her. I thought, okay, he's trying to.
These two actors were like the it thing for about 5 minutes, right? A couple of years back.
I believe he's trying to mac on her, but she's just like, yeah, whatever. I mean, she's supposed to secretly sort of like him, but she just comes across as like, ugh, why do I have to work with this jerk? But anyway, they're secret agents, former military / agents. But anyway, Cara was a terrible actress. Yeah, Cara Delevingne. She's a former model or something.
Wow, this was 2017. That long ago.
Yeah, she's not. It's just Anyway, world building though not bad. That's the one good thing about the movie. All right, let's move on. Of course, I mean this is one of the classic stories. Dune. Awesome world building in Dune. Frank Herbert. I mean, he spent his life developing this universe, and supposedly wrote pages and pages and pages of story and detail to the world building of Dune that never meant it to the page, which is supposedly what Kevin Anderson and Brian Herbert, his son, based their various books on. But 6 books, but supposedly tons and tons of written stuff by Frank Herbert.
Well, it's credible to say that there is a lot of world building because a lot of it does make an appearance in his actual books, right? I mean, there's references to things, and clearly there's a framework in which it's all placed. But I have to tell you, I'm skeptical about how real the unwritten material is. And I don't want to. I don't quite believe them. I guess this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, we've had this discussion.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think that Frank Herbert wrote. I think he has tons of written material on the background. I believe he wrote a background on all the characters in the first.
I'm not doubting that he wrote stuff. I'm doubting that what they put out is what he wrote.
I think that that's a separate issue. What they put out, I think, follows somewhat of what they, what he did. How good it is, how accurate it is. I think he wrote extensively about the Butlerian Jihad. I think that Frank Herbert and Kevin Anderson put out 3 Dune novels. The first thing they put out was 3 Dune novels, which were the House novels. House Atreides, House Harkonnen, and House Carino.
Yeah.
And those sort of
those were early prequels, like right before.
Yeah. Right? They talk about in here you see Duke Leto. They talk about his dad and how he was killed.
Yeah, but it's really about Leto. It's it's really about the generation before Muad'Dib.
Yes. Yes. So it's about Leto. His dad is there. It all fits together, and it follows a lot of what is mentioned in the novels, right? So I think that basically, if you go through this is this is kind of off topic. If you go through the Kevin J. Anderson and Frank Brian Herbert novels, as you go, those are the first three. As you go farther and down, they get farther and farther away from Herbert's vision, because I think they ran out of shit to talk about, right? Like, oh, now I gotta keep putting out this stuff. But so that kind of stuff about the Harkonnens and how they came to be, how the Baron came to be how he is, and how Duke the Leto came to be how he is, etc. That's probably stuff.
I think those are the most credible. I would agree with those. But do you think
it's not that he didn't write the stories. Like, I think he's just got detailed, paragraphs and paragraphs of, Luke, Duke Leto, he was born here, blah, blah, blah. His father was like this. I don't think he wrote a story. They took that and turned it into a story, his notes.
Sure.
But, so it's not his story. It's his outline.
Let me challenge your other claim then.
Right.
And that is, you said he wrote extensively about the Butlerian Jihad. I doubt it, or I doubt that they stuck to whatever it was that he wrote, because I find it extremely hard to believe that the writer of the 6 Dune novels would have written the trilogy set in the Butlerian Jihad era of the Dune novels that they wrote, because I would agree. So wildly different in tone and theme. Again, I read those novels and I enjoyed them to some degree, but they are.
No, they go on for a long time. I'm like, I reading them over again. I'm like, this is really slow.
It's also very current day sci-fi. I don't want to say tropes or slop or anything like that, because they were okay. I mean, they weren't bad, but they just don't have the themes and anything else that is seen in the other work. I guess you could argue, well, let's say he wrote an outline of it and they just didn't have what he had in terms of maintaining that sort of theme.
No, for certain.
And again, I'm not trying to bash him or anything like that. I don't have anything against either of them, but it's just, I can't believe that it's representing the same work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's the outline, and they had to fill in a lot, and I don't think they did a great job. Kevin J. Anderson, I mean, I think he writes solid science fiction, solid mainstream science fiction. That's what he does, and that's what those novels are like. And let's face it, Frank Herbert is one of the very few, I don't want to say outstanding. He is outstanding, but his style, the way he writes things and puts them together, is just, nobody else writes like him. Like, you can't write like him. He has a very certain style, and it's, you can't mimic that. It's just,
yeah. Well, okay. I guess so. Whatever I'm taking exception with, it's one or the other kind of thing. You say wrote extensively. An outline is not writing extensively.
No, he wrote an extensive outline and details about the characters and the world and that kind of stuff, right? And that's why I'm saying that the world building in Dune is exceptional. Whether
no. I'm saying in regards to the Butlerian Jihad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's.
Do you think that there's a Xavier Harkonnen that he ever wrote extensively about? I mean, maybe the name exists, but do you think he went into that, or about Vorian Atreides?
I'm trying to think if there is a reference to the Atreides. What you mean, Vorian Atreides being related to the
Cymex and all, right,
and living for 200 years and stuff. I don't know.
I doubt it.
It could have been. It could have been. I could see him doing something like that. Did he? I don't know.
Okay, are you familiar with the Dune Encyclopedia?
The Dune Encyclopedia. No.
Yeah, like okay. This is something that was written
from the grave. Oh no.
No, this was something that was written by fans, essentially.
Oh, right.
Speculate on all the stuff. And Frank Herbert, made a comment on it. He didn't say, "Oh yes, this is right," but he kind of winked at it, as I recall, and was like, "This could be accurate. This could be right, kind of thing. And it's wildly different from anything that came out in the prequels. And I'm not saying the Dune Encyclopedia is correct either, because it was, I mean, it's fan fiction before the days of weirdos. I mean, I don't know, it was written in like the 70s or something, I think.
Hmm.
Or well, mm, I I want to say it was written before the last book that he wrote, which was what, 1983 or something.
I'm not sure.
When was
No,
the
I think those came out.
when was
I
Chapter
think
House written?
I read Dune in '85, but it first came out in like '67, and the other novels weren't written yet.
Yeah,
So I
well,
think they were.
Chapter House was 1985.
It was 1985.
Yeah,
My mistake. Um,
some fan of sci-fi you are.
yeah, I know. I'm embarrassed. Um, yeah, I mean, there's the controversy in Dune about the whole, what was the final, what is the final threat
Hmm.
that they're worried about, and there's what um,
Okay, so
Brian Anderson and Brian Herbert put out, and there's the other idea. Quinn is a big think guy on this, and the other idea is sentient hunter seekers that are basically come to sentience machines, and then they can hunt out all life. Yeah.
mhm.
Doing the
Yeah,
second
so
book came out in 1984.
right
Right.
before the end of his series.
Yeah, and before he died, yeah.
Okay, so
So
I'm just looking at the book real quick. Says Frank Herbert approved the book, considering it amusing and fascinating,
yeah,
but not
that doesn't mean
not his work,
it.
obviously.
It doesn't say. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I don't like there. There is anecdotal evidence. I think that Brian Herbert has said in some interviews that his father was so into his. He's like, my dad wasn't a great dad.
Hmm.
He says his father was so involved in his world that he didn't have much time for him, so to speak. He was in his attic or whatever writing, and outlines and all this stuff. So yeah, I don't know how much they take from it. And there is, you're right. There's the themes and stuff from you know the Butlerian Jihad. I would have expected something a lot deeper and a more interesting theme and stuff. But yeah, yeah. Again, though, I'm talking strictly about the world building, and I think that Herbert did a lot there. Whether his son and Kevin Anderson were able to translate that, or they made some choices here or there that didn't work,
Well,
whatever. I
okay,
mean, that's a different question.
all right. If I don't know if I'm stepping on anything else you want to do here, but take let's contrast this to Tolkien stuff. I realize it's not sci-fi, but
Yeah,
Christopher Tolkien painstakingly produced and documented his father's work, and put out different versions saying, here's this, I mean, there's comments on the notes he's making and saying, well, this appears to be erased and replaced. And I mean, he spent half a century documenting that stuff, basically.
hmm
We don't see that with Frank Herbert's work. And so my question is, why not? And I guess it's it's theirs. They own it now, or whatever, or the estate, or what. I don't know what the legal thing is, but it's not mine to say they must do something with it. But
yeah,
just by contrast, I say, well, why not? If this is his, well, let's see it. I mean, there's dedicated fans would love to see this stuff, And I mean, obviously, if there was some kind of personal stuff written in there, or whatever, they could edit, get rid of that.
yeah.
But let's see it. Um,
Well,
I,
I think it's a difference between the families of how they dealt with it, right?
well, yeah,
The
I guess so.
the Tolkien children, obviously, they look at his work and they say, "Hey, we're going to document what our dad did.
Hmm.
We're not going to." And Brian Herbert takes his dad's work. He's like, "I'm going to add to it. I'm going to profit from it directly." Well, you know, more directly, I guess, by continuing it as opposed to cataloging and so it's a difference in which is right, which is wrong. Well, you can decide, but
Well,
I
it's
mean,
not a matter of right or wrong. For me, I mean, like I said, it's not mine to decide. I'm just saying, in terms of what credibility for me, that would add credibility. And the
yeah,
fact that they haven't done it limits credibility.
Yeah. Well, let's, the suggestion is he's trying to keep it secret, right? So that he can make more novels on it, and you'll never, you'll still buy the novels. You'll never know how much of this is Frank Herbert, how much is this Brian Herbert, how much is Kevin Anderson, right? So, I mean, Frank Herbert wrote 6 books in his life, and they have already put out how many? 18, something like that, more than that. So
Okay.
right, you just can't write like Frank Herbert. I mean, it's just the way that he puts together a book, and the way he does it is just.
And I don't want to take anything away from his world building, because I think it is one of the best, in fiction,
in science fiction,
certainly in sci-fi. I don't think it holds a candle to Tolkien, which isn't science fiction, of course, but that's like saying you don't hold a candle to the greatest of all time. Yeah, nobody does, right? I mean, so.
All right. Let's move on to something that's a little more. They'll start to get a little more controversial, perhaps. Dread, and I'm speaking about in general the Dread. I mean, I like the Carl Urban version, which is what this is from. I haven't read extensively the comic books and graphic novels and stuff, but I did quite enjoy Dread's movie. There's not a lot of, it's not super detailed, but there's some good world building, right? You feel, when you watch Dread, you feel like you are in that, you can understand that world, and it's well referenced. I don't know. Would you agree or not?
Well, sadly, to my shame, I have not seen Judge Dredd.
Oh, just Dread.
Or well, either of the movies.
Oh, really?
Or is there more than one? Or is this,
there's the
Stallone
version in
there was just one of those
90s, late 90s, early 90s. I don't remember.
Yeah, I have not seen any of them.
This is, the Stallone version is very much more comic booky. This one is very gritty. Dread.
Yeah,
I'd
like to see it. Yeah, I'd like to.
It should. It's good. I really enjoy it. And like you said, did you mention this? Somebody mentioned this. We mentioned it last time. They're supposedly working on a follow-up, which is supposedly going to be a TV show. It's all the movie's all about a drug bust. Okay, what's here? I hope the TV series carries the same feel. Yeah, so other people have heard that it's supposed to be a TV series. I don't know why they didn't do a Dread 2 and 3. I mean, it was a great. Carl Urban never takes off his helmet the whole movie, Cam.
Oh, see, that's impressive, because
it's impressive because he's I'm like, I'm a famous, right? Stallone would never do that, right? I gotta take off my. So the movie starts off. This is, we were talking about openings too. The movie starts off, with the sort of telling you about the, what the world is like, and there's a dark cut and to a scene, and Dredd is in the police station, and he's putting on his stuff. And then there's a cut, and you can't see his face, but it's sort of like the back of his head, and he puts his helmet on. And that's the only time you actually see any type of, non-helmeted face from him. And the entire movie, he has his helmet on the entire time. He never takes it off, never, fiddles with it, anything. And he just goes through like a machine. 8 episodes for the TV series. Yeah, I haven't heard specifically. We're kind of guessing, and it's an interesting story because he brings a rookie along, but it's a drug bust, right? The whole movie is a drug bust, but they've set up in an apartment block called Peach Trees, which is 200 floors of humanity packed in. I don't know, 100,000 people packed into this one this one apartment complex where this drug lord Mama has taken over. Cersei's from Game of Thrones plays Mama. Does a good job too. Judge Dredd Mega City 1 on Netflix series, 8 episodes. Really? All right. So they've done even more. Dredd Dredd never takes his helmet off the comic book either, but Stallone did. Yeah, Carl Urban is great as the as the wooden Judge Dredd. Just he's not wooden. He does a great job of being the guy. Yeah, I was. This was on my list of movies that should have a sequel but don't, and why don't they? Okay, Roberts is not happy with 8 episodes. Yeah, I mean it's kind of, you're right, it's kind of weak. These mini things. It's like we don't want to do a 2-hour movie, so we'll do 8 episodes. That's 6 hours or something like that. Yeah, because of the streaming. Yeah. But yeah, some good, very consistent world. Very good at showing you, the masses of humanity. 6 months ISO cube. You're like, what's an ISO cube? You just imagine people being, kept in a 2x2 square cube for that long. Whatever. Yeah. Well done. Okay. You said you haven't seen it. All right. I guess you can't really comment. Good story. Highly recommend this movie for sure. Yeah. Oh, okay. This is what I meant when we're getting a little bit into the Cam. Do you know this one?
Yeah, I'd never seen it.
Don't know this movie?
Well, I've never seen it.
But... Okay, Avatar, of course. James Cameron's Avatar. Not. I saw this in the theaters. I bought into the hype, the whole 3D. And there was one point near the end of the movie where they shoot something and it almost comes right at you. And I had to duck. I ducked into it. I'm like, holy shit. And I ducked. But other than that, the 3D didn't really jump at me that much. Not a great movie in my view. I think I tried watching the second one, fell asleep and, didn't bother to go back to see it. The rest of it, I was just like, yeah, whatever. Unobtainium, but relatively good world building and, beautifully done, beautifully shot. It looks very credible in the theater. The fairly detailed with the world of Pandora, the people that living there, the other creatures, that kind of stuff. Well done with that, but not a great story. You talk. Kay Roberts is talking about its child weekend filler. Are you talking about? I assume you're talking about Avatar. Yeah. Story falls a little flat. It's a very basic, capitalism, humans bad, tribal people good. There's some, great scenes and stuff.
Breaking new ground in sci-fi.
Yeah, it's pretty, natives good, humans bad, trying to, take unobtainium from there. But yeah, still beautiful world, really well developed. With all the creatures and stuff, so that's why it's on here, not because it's a great story. All right, going back to Dredd a little bit. Problem with translating Dredd into a movie is everyone forgets that it is satire, and much of the world is closer to Stallone's film, but humorous in the Monty Python over the top Brit funny. You think so? I really like the gritty one. Yeah. I mean, it's satire because it's so over the top. Judge, jury, and executioner. Okay, I think Weatherman's talking about Avatar. Only the first one. I found it very boring. I didn't find it boring, but it's a very basic story. It's a long story, but it's like I said.
Oh, good. I want a trite story that's really long.
It's a little bit long. It doesn't. It's not. It's not. It doesn't feel long in the sense because it's not like they waste time on something. They go from point A to point B, but it could be a little bit quicker.
I have one experience with this
Dances
franchise.
with Wolves in Neon. That's probably a fairly good, fairly accurate assessment.
Back in the day before I boycotted Disney, I was at Disney World, and I went on the Avatar ride that was supposed to be so awesome, and it really sucked. It looked 10 years out of date. Not worth the wait at all. Just trash. Okay.
All right. Next one.
The
You know this one?
Matrix.
Matrix. All right. So tell me, what about the world building on the Matrix, Cam? We can tell.
Well, it's been a while since
pretty good.
I've seen it. Yeah, there's a lot of it. Let me put it that way. There's quite a bit of world building. I'm not. I haven't delved into it in a while. So, in the let's restrict this to the movies for the moment because
Yeah, of course.
The first three movies at least.
Yes.
I I think it's a cool concept and it edges towards
Mind-boggling when it came out, eh? Like you watch, you watch, you're like, wow.
Certainly it was. Yeah, it was one of those big splash things that was kind of new, right? And it kind of dabbles in world building, but I don't know that it got there to a sufficient depth where I'd be like, wow, that was great world building, and then as things went on, it got. I mean, they did do more with world building where you started to, see what really happened and everything. But I don't remember that it really blew me away as being like, wow, that was great. Again, it was like, oh, cool concepts. I'd love to see more. But my perception memory of it is that it didn't get there. It didn't land like it should have. So do you see what I'm saying? Good, good on concept, poor on execution kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm trying to talk, about the world building more specifically.
I am as well. I'm
think
referring to the world building.
Yeah, I think that it is fairly detailed, and it's got a good coherent. It's put together. The story of the humans. I mean, part of it is that they don't know what happened, so that you don't get as much detail.
Oh, okay. So that's done well in your opinion. Oh, we don't know what happened.
Well, they don't know what happened.
Okay. Well, and did they ever get did you ever get a straight answer? Oh, here's what it actually is.
Well, I mean, what they say is somewhat correct, right? Like it's correct.
Is it
in general? In general,
okay. That's the difference in our opinion, I guess. Then is for world building.
Is it not correct?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I want a definitive answer in terms of world building. If there's a storyline that's like, oh, it's supposed to, it's supposed to be undefined and make you think, that's one thing. But I don't have the same opinion in terms of world building. That I want to know what it is. I want what is that story? What is that history? And so on and so forth. So being kind of evasive about what it is doesn't work for me.
Okay, well, they don't have to. To have a good world built up doesn't mean that they have to tell you.
It does to me.
Okay.
That's what I'm just saying. That's what I want in world building. So if you can enjoy your low standards, that's fine. I'm not going to bash you for it.
The Wachowskis thing got sued over the story. Really, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah,
the Wachowski brothers.
I seem to recall something about that someone else had. James, you want to talk more about? Just comment more about that. I think there was something about. Yes, Weatherman. Thank you. See, Snap, no one agrees with you.
Don't baffle me with BS and tell me it smells like rose. I think that's what he's talking about. You.
No, he's not. No.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a fairly consistent. It's a consistent world all put together. Just because we don't know exactly what happened. I mean, they give us what they think happened, and it's correct. What they think happened is correct. They just don't know the details. They don't know that they're the sixth iteration of this world as opposed to the first iteration. It's got a good consistent world all put together. It's pretty detailed. Yeah.
Well,
look it up. They stole the story. I didn't know about that.
Okay, fine. Let's do this then. Why don't we have an episode where you explain to me? I'll just sit back and listen and ask questions and such, and you can explain to me the world building of the Matrix and lay it out and define it for me. How about that?
So what? You don't think it's You don't think it's good?
I'm just saying, like I said, I haven't delved into it recently, so I'm going from older recollections. But I remember being unsatisfied by it. Again,
Really?
I didn't dislike it. I thought the concept was pretty cool, but by the third movie, I was like, this is losing me, because of what they were doing. So I don't think it was there.
Well, what didn't you
By my
like about the?
well,
I mean,
again,
what do you?
it's hard for me to detail that. Like I said
Oh,
three
okay.
times now that I have not been deeply involved in it for years. So I'm going on my recollection, and that's why I'm saying, well, since you seem to have a good recollection of it and claim that it is solid world building, I would love to hear it explained to me.
Well, we're not going to do that because I might be embarrassed. So
Ah,
I don't
okay,
want to.
that's fine.
I don't. I don't want to put myself up for embarrassment. But I mean, the second and third movies go a little bit more into the detail, whether you like that or not. The fact that this is the sixth iteration of the Matrix and that kind of thing. I was more looking at the first movie by itself. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, maybe I'll have to think about that a little bit more. Yeah. All right. Cam disagrees. All right.
Well, no, again, I would actually I'm not I'm poking at you a little bit, but I would actually I would be fine with delving into this. Say, okay, let maybe there's some other channel that's done this, and I can just look it up. Um,
There's a lot of the Matrix has a lot of themes. It's a very
sure.
Christian themes, but I was speaking specifically about that. There's a
Well, I,
lot
I
into the world and stuff, but
well,
that's not specifically the world building. But
I had mentioned a while back that I watched like a Lost retrospective or whatever, like a channel that really delved into it. And the guy was expressing his opinions on a lot of it or everything, but it was very entertaining because the guy
on Lost, oh right.
filled in some gaps. He said, well, I mean, he wasn't saying, well, my view is right, but where people had criticisms or didn't feel it was done well, he kind of said, well, this is what this is what I think about it. And
Hmm.
so I would be happy to hear someone say, oh, here, yeah, this is what I took from it, and this is what I think it meant, and why it came across as cohesive to them. I don't want to. I wasn't trying to say, and your opinion is going to be wrong. It probably would be, but other people having thoughts on intricate worlds like this could be interesting to hear.
Hmm. All right. Okay. This one. This is so. This is Dark City. I
Yeah.
have a copy of the film. I haven't seen it yet. It's the one um, show on this list that I haven't seen. You've seen Dark City, right?
Yes, a long time ago. I think I just saw it once at the theater.
All right. Do you want to talk about the world building in Dark City? I plan to have watched this
Man,
before this show, but
yeah,
my daughter wants to watch it with me, and we can't get
I read a
can't
little
get.
bit about it recently, and uh, so I'm remembering a little bit about it. It basically it's kind of um, less deep than you think. I mean, it's literally just an alien spaceship or something, right? I mean, it's in the end, it's not. Oh, I guess I should have said spoilers, huh? Um, but it's just an alien race that's manipulating people on that they. It, it's kind of simplistic in the end. It's not. It's very. This is a movie that would be. I don't think the world building is great. I think it's the tone is effective,
Mhm.
and you see what I'm saying? Well, yeah, like Weatherman said, a very noir feel. So yeah, that comes across very well. The atmosphere of the movie comes across well, but I don't know that the world building is particularly good in the end. What do you think?
No, you don't think so?
I guess you do. Well,
I
yes.
haven't seen it. I
I'm
haven't seen
asking.
it.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I missed that.
Yeah,
Oh, I spoiled it for you. I'm totally
you
sorry.
did. You
Oh my
did.
gosh. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
damn.
sorry. Well, forget it. It did. It's not even that definitive, I
Forget
guess.
what?
So yeah, don't watch it then. Sorry. That was my fault. I'm a dick.
No, don't worry about it. Keep going.
Well, that's. I mean, again, it's very atmospheric. It's worth watch. It's one of those movies that's worth watching for that reason. So I guess maybe you wouldn't be. because the plot isn't like, oh wow, that plot was so mind blowing, and it's like it's mind blowing
Hmm.
in that it's weird, that as you're watching it. It's not something that I think you know will stand with other great works.
Yeah.
So Weatherman hate.
Um,
Oh no, Weatherman hates steampunk, right?
it's in the
Because
war
James said cyberpunk aesthetic. Yeah, it's I don't. Is it cyberpunk? It's kind of noir punk. I don't know. I guess you could say cyberpunk, but it doesn't seem very technological. I mean, in it, meaning characters aren't running around with computer interfaces in their brains and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, I
All
wish
right.
I could erase the last 5 minutes because I really I feel bad about spoiling this now.
Yeah, and yes, and I will remind you for the rest of your life.
Dang. Mm.
Feel bad. Take it to your grave.
Mm.
All right. Can you recognize this one?
Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So go ahead. World building in Blade Runner.
Okay. Um. Okay. My first reaction would be to say yes. It's excellent world building. And this is I think I mentioned with Excalibur that Excalibur was a movie that informed my role playing world along with Krull, and Blade Runner is the one that informed my sci-fi role playing.
Hmm.
It was just that's the kind of world we immersed in, that and
Maybe everybody's. Yeah.
aliens. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it, so again, atmospherically and kind of setting the visuals and everything for it,
Yeah.
it unbeatable as far as I'm concerned for this, again, kind of near, little more than near future kind of world. But the world building, I don't know
Come
that
on.
it's all that strong. I mean, there's, I guess it's like when I would look at that and say, how many more questions do I have that aren't answered by it? And I think there's probably a ton. I mean, we get a little bit about the off-world stuff and where the replicants are and they're allowed to be and such and what they're doing, but I mean, they don't go into it deeply, and we can't even go back to the source material because the source material is actually quite a bit different. I mean, the themes and everything are there in a lot of ways, but it's this is based on the source material. It's not. I wouldn't say it's an adaptation at all.
Right. Well,
Um,
okay, hold on. Maybe I should. Okay, maybe we're not. Maybe we're not getting as good with world building. I mean, it's world. When I talk about world building, it's how much and not just detail. It's not just story detail in the movie. It's how much effort is put into making you think that you are in a different world, like this, and it actually exists and it's real. Like that's the kind of when I'm talking
okay.
about.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
let me give you an example of what I would say would be sort of you know subpar world building. Okay, do you remember Waterworld, Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
Right. So I would say that's kind of subpar, world building. I mean, how there's a flood, there's no land, right? How is everybody going around with all this with power? Like, how come they've got all this gas still? Everyone's driving around on the bad guys are all driving around in this oil
Hmm.
barge, and these people are kept together on the. That's not really. You don't get much as to what's going on. It's just basically, oh, we're in the water. Yeah, here we go. Um,
Okay.
like that's
Well.
an example of, I would say, not great world building, right?
Well.
Versus,
Okay. I guess there's different world building to me. So Waterworld. You're talking about that the setting isn't. The way I would say that is that the setting isn't well established, but uh, setting is only part of world building. Whereas the setting in Blade Runner, I think, was established quite well, right?
yeah, the
it's you can imagine this world functioning in the way you
yes,
see on screen, right?
and part of it is the details that are put into the little details. Landing. It's 1980. The movie's made, for example, Blade Runner made in 82. You're
Uh-huh.
landing. Everyone's eating. He's eating Japanese noodles and stuff all the time, right? Like
Right.
there's an amalgam of cultures that we kind of take for granted now, but back then would have been like no one in North America would be eating Japanese noodles and those Asian noodles regularly, even though we do it all the time. Garbage on the sides, the way that these giant billboards that you see in the picture here.
Mhm.
The opening scene, which we talked about last time, flying over the city of LA with the giant buildings, everything like that. Like there's so
Yeah.
much. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that's one aspect, the effort put in to make you think this is something
Yes,
that's
and that's more what I would call atmosphere and setting. I think world building goes deeper than that. It's like for example, sorry, I'll make it quick.
it's an aspect like the setting and those things that I mentioned is one aspect of world building. Right?
Yes, yes, yes. But I think world building goes beyond it though too. It's like how did they get to this point? Not again a detailed history book or something like that, but it's basically, yeah, okay. What's a bullet point list of a few things that brought us here, and and of course world building can go much 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 deeper, a la Tolkien, if you want to do that kind of thing. But just having a good setting that's displayed well and you know brings the atmosphere to the viewer doesn't mean that it's necessarily good world building, and Blade Runner might be a good example of that. That it's great on the atmosphere and setting for that particular story, but I don't know that much beyond that particular story about that world. I just know about that story.
So, I mean, for me, world building is, is this a world that I believe exists or could exist? Based on based on the story, not based on whether it could exist in our world or whatever. Is it believable? Is it a world that I want to visit? Is it capable of evoking some emotion in me based on how it's presented? Like I feel like it could be there, and that's the kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Michael's challenging you here about the Oriental noodles not being common.
Yeah, but ramen noodles are not. I mean,
the way that they were presented,
Japanese,
having counters like in Japan,
yes,
in
exactly.
the United States, is not.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean,
common.
And you have different noodles. Like they're not eating ramen noodles. I think they're eating udon noodles and stuff. Yeah, my point is that back in 1982, yeah, you could go and eat ramen noodles, but that's it. You couldn't get them at a counter, and there it's like they've taken that aspect of Asian Japanese culture and put it into LA.
Right, and through that visual,
surprising now. It's not surprising now, but 40 years ago.
Well, but even that style, I don't think is common in the United States today. But you're right. I understand what you're saying. Is that portrayal, that depiction, which is part of the set, literally the set in which they're acting on, does portray something about the setting, more broadly, and that is a part of world building.
But
the just fact one
that
part
you've got that there, like it's saying something to you that there's been an amalgamation, a mesh of cultures, and everything is squished together, so to speak, which is kind of a very
and I've said many times on the show that the setting and the world building is something that's what makes or breaks a story for me. That's what keeps me interested in something over the time I'm watching it to beyond the time I'm watching it, is if that's
it makes
good.
It believable.
And that's the stuff I dig. I mean, I love that kind of element of the story.
I can watch Blade Runner, and which I think is a good example of world building, and say, yeah, I believe that this world could exist. That the way it's presented to me, it all fits together, and I'm like, yeah, like the characters, the way they reacted to their world, etc. Yeah, this could exist. This could exist, and it exists in mine. But if I watch Waterworld, I'm like, oh, come on, where do they get their power from? How long has it been? What the how do they eat?
Okay, well, let me.
Anyway,
how did this amalgamation of culture happen?
Well, I don't know.
Right, you don't exactly, because that's not part of, they didn't build that part of their world and present it.
It's not, but it's not. It's an assumption. They're making an assumption. They don't.
You're right,
You don't
and
need to tell
it's
us
not. It's
everything.
not. Granted, it's not needed for this story. It's they show you enough, like you say, that the setting works to support the story.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is it doesn't mean that there's deeper world building presented. It's presenting what it needs for
Right.
the story, but that doesn't mean that I would say that's a pinnacle of world building, because
Yeah. Well,
world building can go much farther.
yeah. I'm talking about,
We need a
good world building.
definition
Yeah.
of what we're talking.
We're talking about good world building, and I don't like. I mean, you're
Okay.
kind of viewing everything off Tolkien, and I mean, Tolkien, Herbert and Dune. That's very, very detailed world building, but and that doesn't, and that's not, that's I'm not to say that's bad, but for me, I would say that, like I mentioned just before, do I believe that this world could exist?
Okay.
Do I believe that it is, is it compelling? Is it somewhere I want to visit? Does it evoke some emotion in me when I watch it?
Okay. If it's a question of,
that's good world building.
If it's a question of the quality of the world building that they choose to do, then I'll agree that yes, this is excellent at that. That's
you can have super detailed world building, and it's just like I would say that Tolkien is overbuilding, right? Some might say that, right? That's too much. You don't need all that, right?
Well, they'd be wrong.
We have this story. We have this story set in the third age. What do we need? A first age and a second age and a pre-age, right? So that's
okay. Let me. Whoa! You spit on Tolkien, and now I have to answer.
I didn't spit on him. I just saying some people might say
there's a third age, right? That implies there's a second age and there's a first age, right?
Right. But you don't have to talk about them necessarily, right?
Not for a particular story, and he didn't. He didn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay. What is the example of a terrible movie with good world building? All right. I've got one coming up. Is it the next one? I think it might be the next one. I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah, we're running along, so
we're running along. Okay. Oh, it is. Okay, I had the right one. Okay. So, do you know what this movie is? Yeah. Do you recognize it?
No, I don't.
Okay, this is Jupiter Ascending.
I didn't see it.
It's 2015. We just where I got it. I got a little detail on it here. Oops. No, where the heck is it? Yeah, Jupiter Ascending. A bad movie with good world building. And so I'm talking about, again, the world, how it if it makes you, it's believable, right? Okay, 2015. The Wachowski brothers did this one as well. Well, they're listed as the Wachowski sisters in this. So this is a space opera. Royalties determined by your DNA. Entire planets serve as resources for intergalactic elites, and Earth is going to be. I mean, they're going to liquidate us to us humans, to put us into these, to make this stuff that they take that keeps them young forever. So it looked good, but it sucked as a story. Yeah, exactly. But there's Mila Kunis is in this. Channing Tatum is the hero, and she's the reincarnation of a famous, one of the royalty who has died in this. They own planets and are super rich. But yeah, it's got some great visuals. It's got it builds up the world. I think this scene is near the end. Maybe, I don't know. They're inside Jupiter. They've got a secret base in Jupiter. They're watching Earth, and they're gonna harvest us when we're ready. And it's supposed to be, the storyline is, they're supposed to be waiting, 20, 30 years. We're not quite, or 50 years or something like that. We're not quite ready to be harvested yet. But this, one of this woman who she's killed herself. She's one of the members of this family, and Mila Kunis is supposedly her reincarnation. They believe in that, and they do a scan of her, and they're like, yeah, it's her. So yeah, it's kind of weird. But yeah, movie's just not a great story, but some good visuals, and the world is pretty detailed. How they go through, how they get the stuff and the storyline. But yeah, so that's an example. I think Neutron was asking a movie that's not that great, but it's got some pretty good world building. Not the great. I wouldn't say the greatest. It's not Tolkien, but yeah,
I can't believe you spoiled this movie for me.
terrible movie. Yeah, you're not gonna watch it. Looked at yeah, The Fifth Element. What do I say? What do I say about The Fifth Element? Good world building? Not bad. I mean, I like the Fifth Element, but is it the best science fiction movie ever made? No. Not a bad, but you believe that well, I guess I wouldn't put it on a list of the best world building. Fifth Element is fairly close to the actual Dread World comic book, much more a Dread movie. Yeah, I mean they are packed in pretty thick. It's a little more funny and a little more humorous, Fifth Element. But anyway, yeah. So I think based on Neutron's question, I would say that this is a movie that was pretty much, was not, it wasn't thought to be a good movie, but the world building's not bad. Yeah. So, I'm just looking at Mila Kunis says she knew Jupiter Ascending would flop. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Let's get to going through. This one? Pacific Rim?
Yeah, Pacific Rim, yep.
Yeah. What do you think about that? You've seen this?
Yeah, the first one was a good time, and the second one sucked.
Not as good. Yeah. Second one was not that great. The first one was pretty, a pretty sort of standard sci-fi action movie. But they did some stuff on the, you've got the world built out. You've got these, big walls and these giant mechs. It seems somewhat reasonable. I mean, you think you just nuke the kaiju instead of fighting them hand to hand, but then that wouldn't be as cool.
No, this is very manga style stuff. Gloriously so. I think this is. I can't bash the first one. I thought it was super fun.
Yeah, so they've got fairly detailed with the kaiju. They're they go after the brain, right? The two scientist guys, go after the brain. They try to get pieces. You've got what's his name? Perlman is selling these pieces. Like they've done the detail. Like hey, what would happen if these giant monsters attack? Yeah, there would be some sort of black market, and they're going to go into the black market and try to get it. These guys are selling stuff. They're selling pieces to various Asian. This will this will increase your libido and all that all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean fairly good world building. I think one of the better ones.
Yeah, see that's it's another one. I guess it's again we're not to rehash the debate we had on that, but I agree. It's got enough world building for the story that they're telling. But it's also one of those I'm like, oh man, I'd like to see more about that. What happened in the background of this? That's just the way I am with all stories.
Yeah.
What led up to it?
Okay. Yeah. Last one. I think this is the last one. All right, let's get on to it. I think you're going to we're going to finish this one off and then move on from there.
Rings a bell, but
it's Star Wars.
Oh yeah, that's right, Star Wars.
All right, so I think you know this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So world building in Star Wars. How would you rate it? How would you?
Are we talking just the movies?
Whatever you want to talk about. Let's stick with the
Um,
movies because this is supposed to be about movies. So, and, you know,
I
we can stick to the first three, right? Or the first one.
let's go first three. I think
James thinks his movies are terrible. I think.
I think the world building's moderate. I mean, there is they sprinkle background in there and everything, you know, the Clone Wars and this or that, but I mean, they don't go into it at all. And I think it's safe to say that it was sufficiently not established that it changed. I mean, George Lucas changed things. He didn't have the story all planned out, you know. Um, eh, it didn't hurt things because it did come together in the right way when he chose to put it on screen. But I'd say the world building in the movies themselves isn't particularly strong. It's a great launching pad for very strong world building, and depending on what you choose as the real thing, it's extremely extensive at this point. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going on. Like I think the world building in it is good. You know, does it, you know, is it believable? Does it, you know, for the setting, do I believe that world could exist? Yeah, I mean, or the way that it's presented, you know, it's a place I want to visit. Can it, you know, evoke
okay,
emotion in me? Yes, based on those criteria.
let me use your
Yeah,
Waterworld example.
it's good.
Why does anyone live on Tatooine?
I don't know. Does it matter?
Yeah, based on your Waterworld
It's the only
example, it
place
kind
that
of
they
does.
can live.
Why?
They're stuck there. They can't leave. They don't have the money.
You're guessing,
They were
right?
born there.
It's not established in the
No,
story,
I'm just making suggestions as to why they
right?
might live there. Yeah.
So so it's not established in the story.
Not really.
Okay, so similarly, well, okay, maybe it's not the same as Waterworld because the Waterworld, it's kind of the whole thing. You know, the reason everything's happening is because of that. Whereas Tatooine, being what it is, isn't why everything is happening. But that was just a kind of example of, yeah, you just kind of accept, well, this is it, and it's sufficient for the story. But why would anyone, you know, when you have relatively easy space travel? I mean, they book travel on a freighter for a relatively small amount of money, and they overpaid. Um,
Who does? Oh,
Ben and Luke,
oh, right, right.
and the two droids, you know, with Han Solo. But it's like, why would you continue to no, like in Dune? Well, why is anybody on Arrakis? Well, because the spice is there, right? You know, that's you know,
Well,
but
you
there's
know,
nothing on Tatooine.
the Fremen have been dropped there, right? They're
Sure,
looking. They've never found a place. They can't find a place to live. They're basically kicked out and taken as slaves, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah, right, and there obviously more world building behind that. I'm saying, well, I guess there's people that live in deserts in our world too.
Sure, yeah.
But you know, that just kind of stood out. It's like, well, why? If you have space travel and you can go to other worlds with resources, why do you? You know, it's like, oh, we're moisture farmers. Well, for what other purpose? I mean, it's like you go to a
Because
place that has poor moisture, poor water that you need to live, and then you're gonna, you know, fight to get that basic resource to survive in order to do what?
well, to survive. I mean, the truth is that you're stuck in a crap like I mean, just take it into our present world, right? Why do people live in crappy places? You know, like the desert or in the north in you know, snow and those conditions because other humans have kicked them out of the better places, right? They forced them out, right?
I did they? I
Yeah, of
mean,
course. Otherwise, you know, why does anyone move? Why would anyone move out of a great place? Why would anyone ever leave the breadbasket of
well, okay.
Egypt
I believe
and because somebody kicked them out, right?
okay,
They're like,
but okay. So I think in the world of Star Wars, it was established somewhere that at one point there was mining interests that thought they could get something out of the planet, and that's why anybody's there. Like the Sandcrawler was a mining thing that the Jawas took over after it was abandoned. For example,
Sure.
Ben Kenobi's hut was built by some surveyor or something. So, but there's no reason to stick around at that point. I, I don't know. I'm just saying that you could easily come up with questions. Well, why are they doing that? And in Dune, there is a reason, a much stronger reason. Again,
space travel in Dune is expensive.
Right. Yeah.
It is very much a feudal society.
Right.
With a lot of peasants that don't get anything.
But it's not in Star Wars. No. It's different in Star Wars. Every schmuck like Han Solo has a ship. They can get around relatively easily.
I think. I don't think. We're arguing about the details, but I don't think Han Solo is. He's a typical. He's like, all right, I'm going to get a ship, and I'm going to go into Hawk for a long time. And I gotta barely keeping up with the payments by smuggling stuff, and I got to smuggle stuff in order to make extra money because I'm not making enough money.
But space travel is ubiquitous in the Star Wars universe. It's not exclusive like it is in Dune, let's say.
No, it's not exclusive, but it doesn't mean that everybody has a ship. They're expensive.
No, but
I think the analogy would be like Han Solo's analogy would be 15th, 16th century in our world where some rich guy hires you to run a ship for him and gives you a piece of it or something like that, and you start taking goods between the old and new world, something like that. Like I would think, or various other trading places, from in the Arab world or Africa to back to Europe, etc. That would be kind of the analogy. Well, spaceships move at the speed of plot. Yeah. Straczynski said that. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Cam works for the Empire.
Yeah. No, again, when it's all accumulated, certainly there's a lot of world building behind it. But in terms of the movies, it wasn't extensive. It was kind of he threw out some interesting stuff. One of my favorite things in terms of world building was the prologue to the novelization, where it's like it gave you a page and a half or whatever of background that really filled out the world nicely. It's like, oh, okay, this is it talked about the Republic. It was and
yeah.
Did a great job at that.
I think our disagreement here has to do with what we think world building is. Like I'm saying that is it a place I would like to visit? Is it a place that is believable? Is it evoke some emotion? I think you are more like a Tolkien, which is like detail. You want the details of why everything is the way it is.
Yeah,
for you, good world building is detailed. Which I don't necessarily. I'm not saying that's not important, but I'm not necessarily using that as my top criteria for what world building is. I think that's what our we've been sort of knocking back and forth this last half here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, and again, it's because you're talking about setting, which is a subset of world building.
Sure.
Right. And the part I wasn't explaining well is that I was not just making it clear the difference between extensive world building and quality world building.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm a little bit wrong, and you're a lot wrong.
Well, it's my channel, so I can't be wrong.
All right. Well, you can veto me. There you go.
There you go.
You kick me. That's what they do on the live streams. They just kick.
That's right. Just kick that guy.
That's right.
All right. Okay, we're gonna finish. That was the last one that I had. Talking about world building. All right. Let's just go. Grand Tale versus Personal Tale. Tatooine started due to a starship crash. No one knew they crashed there and not leave due to it being hut territory and lack of money. Original Star Wars started one chapter before the movie. Is it an extrapolation on some form of reality? Oh, I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Uh,
You should
those
put up a
days
poll. Who's dumber?
dumber. No, what? You mean you or
Who's
me?
who's more likely to lead to idiocracy?
Oh, who? What do you mean?
But between the two of us.
Between the two of us? No,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I might lose.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
Well, I
All
mean,
right.
people can put a 1 in the chat for me and a 2 for you.
Okay. Sure.
You just do that way. All right. Okay. That's we were at the end of the show.
Very long show.
It was pretty long, 2 hours. We got to finish this off. We got to do some jokes. Let's do some jokes.
Oh wait, one thing, quick. One thing I wanted to mention.
3. There you go.
Was we on Dead from the Dugout.
Hey, Robert, sleep both of us.
Oh.
Ouch.
All right.
You're both dumb. Everyone's going with 3. All right. Jeez.
We were talking about on Dead from the Dugout. We talked about Hitchcock stuff, and I just saw today that Netflix apparently has dropped their Hitchcock collection. So if you have Netflix, you can delve into that.
They were gonna do that, right? Was it the first? I thought it was this. We said the 6th, but
did we talk about that on the episode?
We did mention it.
Oh, I must have zoned
Hitchcock.
out.
Yeah. Madman mentioned Hitchcock was coming because we talked about Hitchcock, and he said it was coming to Netflix. And
well, then our viewers of this show now also know that.
Yeah, in June. I thought he said the 6th or something, but I could just be misremembering.
Okay.
But if it's the 1st, so yeah, probably today. All right. I think I did. Did I do that one already? Oh, sometimes I get the same. This is a good personal one here. Why did the time traveler refuse to watch sci-fi movies?
Why did the time traveler refuse to watch sci-fi movies?
He said they're too predictable, and he already knows how they end. Get it? Because he's a time traveler, so he knows how.
Yeah. Okay. Number 2.
Let's just do one more.
Okay, great.
These are bad.
Thank you.
All right. Why do aliens love watching sci-fi movies?
I don't know. Why do aliens enjoy watching sci-fi movies?
It's the closest thing they have to a reality show, right? Because it's science fiction. It's kind of like their reality.
Okay. It's mildly clever. Oh, Michael.
Yeah.
Michael, yeah. Maybe we could talk about that on Tuesday, since we're filling in for Jason's news-focused
channel. Do we
channel.
want to talk about that one?
Not really. I will if pushed, but not now.
Yeah, I've been ignoring.
Thank you, Dave, for being
I've
generous.
been ignoring that because yeah. All right.
Okay.
Right, grab Thor's hammer, something. Yeah. Good world building that. All right, what do you have coming up? We've got what is it? It's Sunday. So we've got Tuesday, we're gonna do another Jason's away again this week. We're gonna do Dead from the Dugout on Tuesday and Thursday. So that's at 12 Central Time, noon. Replacing for Jason, we're going to try to, do the show for him. Tuesday, we haven't decided what we're going to talk about. Thursday, we're going to do a wrap up of the science fiction news / pop culture stuff that has come during the week. And Madman's going to be on with us on Thursday to do that as well. He's going to take the reins on that. And we got to figure out what we're going to do on Tuesday.
Yeah, but what about Wednesday?
Is there a topic? Yeah, there's no topic yet. We have to work on it. We'll do something. Worst case, we'll just hang out and make the chat do all the work and talk about what they want to talk about. On Wednesday. Yeah. Go ahead. You talk about Wednesday.
It is the final episode of season 1 of Babylon 5, Chrysalis.
Exciting. There's some crazy things going on. What something's going to happen with? I've seen the episode already. There's going to be a somewhat major change in one of the main characters. Cam, is that correct? I think so. Kind of. I found that
there's going to be a lot of changes.
When I saw that, well, I mean, and then I saw that one character and then it changed. I was like, wow, this is somewhat interesting. Like, it's something that isn't, I watch a fair amount of science fiction. So I'm always interested when I see something that is, not done all the time, right? There's certain tropes in science fiction you see all the time, and this one is not, it's not that obvious a trope. You're like, oh yeah, they did that again, right? Like, oh no, look, time travel, right? Like, not like that, right? I was kind of, I'm not going to say surprised, but it's a little different, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's good. Good on the writers for doing something that's a little bit, interesting. No comment.
Yeah,
Agree, disagree? No.
We'll
So yeah, so I will, minor spoiler, there will be a character that goes through some sort of transformation, I guess you call it. Mm-hmm. But everyone's we're going to talk about it in 2 days, so 3 days. So yeah, all right. What else? Anything else?
Nope.
That's about it. It's not like someone's going to sprout wings. No, of course not. We wouldn't do that. Michael's talking about this whole, degenerates with tenant doctor for. I don't know. What are they doing? I've basically written off Doctor Who until they just start getting with some reasonable stuff. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that's it. Next week's show. We don't have a next week's show either. I got to work on that for this show. What we're gonna do next week. We don't have a movie night coming up soon. We got to pick another movie for movie night, but it'll probably be in 4 weeks. Maybe we should do our Dune show, Cam. You tell let's just before we go, I'll just give you a couple of things we're working on. We're thinking about doing. We want to do something about anime. We want to look at an old anime. Perhaps that could be a movie night. Look at an older anime and sort of look at that and analyze that.
But not in Texas. Texas viewers are not allowed to do that.
Not in Texas. Yeah. What's the one we were looking at? The animes. One of the options.
We talked about Akira, or Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell, yeah, something like that, perhaps.
We were looking for, and if anybody has any suggestions, please put them in the comments on this episode. We're kind of looking for a classic 70s to 80s, probably 80s sci-fi anime.
It doesn't have to be too strong. It can be it doesn't have to be super strong. Sci-fi anime if it kind of fits in there. We'll have a very open definition of sci-fi, right? So if there's a battleship floating through space, then that's probably good enough, right?
Sure.
That would be yeah. And the other option is we want to talk about I want to talk about Dune. I've got a guest for that, and Cam says he's gonna talk about it too. The Dune movies, the 2 newest ones, and why I am disappointed in them, and I fear where they're heading towards. That's one option, and the other one was the DCEU, or sorry, not EU, the AU, the DC animated universe. We're working on that. We might go through some of the movies. Were you able to find them, Cam, online anywhere?
I think I have access to them.
All right, we're going to talk about perhaps starting out watching a few of those. From there's about 16 of them that fit all together that are fairly condensed. Some of the other ones are not. They're not. They're all part of the same universe, but 16 of them fit really well together. They almost like a whole storyline. And we were looking at those, starting with what was the first one? Just to give people an idea, they generally call it the Justice League Flashpoint Paradox. You kind of call it the DC animated movie universe. That's what they're kind of starting in 2013, sort of 2020. The movies in there are kind of all fit together Sorry, not all of them, but there's 6 of them that fit together. Justice League, you know, a couple Batman ones, Suicide Squad, Teen Titans, Constantine, different ones like that. Justice League Dark. So yeah, we're looking at that. Be guest speaker on anime. I know the old stuff much more than the newer stuff. Oh well, that kind of fits in what we're talking about.
Okay, well,
yeah.
we should discuss that with Michael because he might be able to guide us right.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk about that offline, Michael. If you got a suggestion where we would be a show, you know, which one would you suggest we'd look at? All right. That's it for the show, everybody. Thanks for watching. It's a little bit longer than we planned, but oh well. You can always fast forward, right? All right. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you on Tuesday or Wednesday, hopefully. Good night, everybody.
Good night.